Hey, what's up, guys? You're listening to the It Takes a Village podcast. I'm Ashley, your host. This is where the struggles are real, the callings are heavy, the kids are sticky. We come together because it takes a village, and this is your tribe. Hey, girl, what's up? Thanks for listening to the It Takes a Village podcast. It is Wednesday, right? Yes. Okay, it's Wednesday. Every day is a blur at this point. And we're all just trying to survive, right? So I don't know about you, but I felt like this was going to be a lot easier than it normally is. And I don't know, I'm still processing why this is so different. Like this break is so different. Maybe it's because it has no purpose, or because I feel like I'm obligated to replace school since we're out of school for no reason, essentially. You know, like normally it's a holiday, and so you think of it as like, this is a great time to give my child a break, and we're doing all the family things. But because this isn't tied to a holiday or some sort of break, for whatever reason, I felt like, and maybe you can relate to this, that I had to replace schooling and that I had to come up with a routine. And I do stand firmly in that, like your students, whatever, I'm not even a teacher. Your kids, your children should have a routine anyways, despite, you know, what's going on. But I felt like I needed to come up with a plan and like become a homeschool mom overnight and have like curriculums in place and all these things like works, math, languages, blah, 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 right? So I want to tell you, my last episode, I gave you some ideas for ways that you can do your day. And it's so funny that I feel like sometimes God just gives you the experience of something that you least expected. So that way you would have experience in that, right? Like otherwise you wouldn't get that perspective. You wouldn't get that empathy for other moms in that situation. So I chose the route of continuing our kids' schooling at home, what they do in the Montessori school that they're going to, and bringing it to our house and having works on shelves. If you don't know what Montessori is, you might want to Google it. You can go look at our school website, which I believe is like the easiest way to figure out what Montessori is, and that's at tmaonline.org. But there's videos, and basically it's hands-on tactical learning, and it's child-led with your supervision, of course, and your kind of guidance. But essentially their works are out and they choose their works and what they want to do. And so I made up all these works for them to do. Okay, and so then fast forward, Monday went awesome. They were like pumped about the works. They like woke up straight away, wanted to get to it. I was still like barely opening my eyes when they were like ready to go, and already working on some of these works that I had planned for them throughout the day, which is totally fine. I didn't plan on this lasting all day long. They got done, you know, right before lunch, and that was cool. And I was fine with having free time the rest of the day. But then it happened again the next day, and I noticed there was a difference in like their mood, their aggression towards each other, sibling rivalry, like just over, there's so many things that went wrong the next day. And there's a difference, right? Like you can tell the difference between a routine shift that throws off your kids and then something that's just not right. Like I need to fix this because we're not getting right in the morning. We're not getting our minds right. We're just not in a good place. It's like waking up on the wrong side of the bed, but like on purpose, right? Because you've set up things, or the lack of the things that are set up for you make you fail for the day. If you like, I don't know a better way to explain that, but you know that feeling. So last night I sat down and I thought about like, what is my goal? Like I asked you guys that, and I wanted you guys to think about that. And I didn't really, like I kind of thought about it myself, and I thought it was just to continue on. Like I didn't really go into any in-depth thought about what my kids really needed this time. I didn't think about how they've been behaving lately, or their actions towards other people. Like I didn't really even pay attention to that. I just jumped into the fact that I thought what we needed was to continue learning just like they would normally, because I felt like it was the mom thing to do. I'm being totally honest with you guys right now. I felt like this was the mom thing to do. This was what made me a good mom, and like just awesome, right? I was excited to share about it, our experience. I was excited to be successful in creating these works for them. I was focusing on me. Now that I'm thinking about it, like I was focusing on me. And so there might have been another reason why we failed the next day, because this was so me focused that it wasn't even focused on them in the first place. I don't know. But I was thinking about it and I was like, man, like there's so much that I would rather my kids be than smart, right? Like, and I remember telling my daughter that at the end of the day yesterday, I was like, you know what? Like, because it was such a rough day, you guys, and there was some actions that everybody had that was just awful. And so I remember telling her, like, I know that you're smart. We don't have to do these works. Like, we don't. Like, you know it. You're doing great. I have no doubt in my mind that when we start back up school, whenever we start back up, that you're going to kill it, that you're going to do awesome, you're going to pick it right back up. There's going to be no issue. What there is an issue with right now is your behavior, your lack of empathy towards people, your lack of consideration, just your attitude. Like there's all these things. And that, like, I tell you guys this all the time. I tell people that I know, because it's true. Like this is genuinely what I feel. And it's that I would much rather raise a child that's kind, that has all these characteristics of a good, sibling, a good leader, generosity, like all these things, right? These are most important to me. The very last thing that really matters is if they are successful in school. Like, to be honest with you guys, I want them to do great, of course, but like their grades do not define them. It doesn't make them a good person. What makes them a good person are all these characteristics, right? And those are what matter to me. And so when I was thinking about this last night, and I was thinking, man, like, how can I really change the focus of our day? And then I remembered a long time ago, I came across The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And I think maybe I've even talked about this in the podcast like a long time ago, but for adults, there was this, book that he came out with, and this kind of morning routine, and you would follow this acronym, SAVERS, and it was made for adults. Well, then, there was a family who just fell in love with it and created and collaborated with Hal to cater towards the kids, because their kids wanted to do it, but like the adult version didn't really feel right for them and it was too much. So then they came up with the acronym CHARMS to be used by children to have this like awesome, great morning. And it's just really focused on yourself, self-growth, and just having a smooth morning routine. Like, this is basically your routine to your routine, right? It's like your morning routine before you even touch the rest of your day's routine, if that makes sense. So I introduced it to my kids this morning, and I wanted to share that with you guys in case you're like me and you're like, wow, this isn't working. We need to get right with Jesus, right? Like, we need to get right with ourselves. We need to get right on just having a good morning before we can even tackle anything else throughout the day, because otherwise it's a hot mess. And so the acronym CHARMS is creativity, and for C, health for H, A is affirmations, R is reading, M is meditation, and S is silence. The one thing I did add to this was that I added exercise at the beginning, because I felt like we needed to have some sort of movement. And specifically, I wanted to do yoga, because this is also my morning too, since we're all home. I want to be able to wake up, have a slow morning, and do some sort of exercise. Now, I want to be able to do yoga in the morning because I feel like it slows for my kids' personalities. I have a child with ADHD, and another one who physically needs to stretch because her muscles and her body's naturally tight. And then me too. So I wanted to do that first thing in the morning. And so, fit that in if you want to fit that in however you want to throughout your day. At the end of it, whatever. That is the thing that I put, at the first thing in the morning, we wake up and we're going to do yoga. But the idea is that you do your CHARMS, CHARMS, before you do anything else throughout the day. And that means that they cannot ask you to watch TV. They cannot ask you to do this or that all you have to simply say is like, hey, are your CHARMS done? If you get those done, then maybe we can talk about it. And so basically, C, creativity, is whatever you want that to be. So, for your household, it could be painting, clay, Play-Doh, anything that involves creativity. Health is things like brushing their teeth, like eating a good breakfast, brushing their hair, washing their face, taking a shower if they don't do that the night before, things that are hygiene appropriate for your child. And then what is it? A is affirmations. We've been practicing those on the way to school in the car, where we all say our affirmations out loud in the car. So now the only difference is that they go and say it in front of a mirror, or I've told them that they can journal them because, you know, some kids feel more comfortable journaling their affirmations than standing in front of a mirror. And you can choose whatever those to be. So like for us, it's I am strong, I am kind, I am smart, I am made in God's image, or I'm a child of God. I will not take this day seriously. That specifically is because my kids tend to take things very seriously throughout the day, and they're very hard on themselves. And so I'm trying to get that, you know, hey, like you can laugh at things like when you make mistakes and it's okay. You know, that they're beautiful. I am beautiful inside and out. You know, whatever you want it to be. So I just pick like a handful of things that are important, and then we've practiced those. And so now they say them off the bat. And if they want to add something, they do. But those are your affirmations. Then M is meditation. So for us, that really can mean meditation, which is sitting in silence, or praying, journaling, doing their devotional. Those are things that I consider, you know, or they can write down their prayer in their journal. Like those are things that I've told them that I consider a form of meditation. It's basically just grounding yourself and taking time to connect with God, connect with, you know, yourself, and really just take a moment to take some deep breaths and, you know, start the day off right. And then S is silence, meaning that they can either have extra time to be quiet and do nothing, or they can use silence in any one of the other charm acronyms except for health, because I feel like that's pointless. Like they could tell me, oh, well, I brushed my teeth in silence. Well, like that sucks. Like that didn't do anything for you. That defeats the purpose. So they can read in silence and say like, this is my reading, you know, my silent reading time. And there is no time limit on it. Like they just get it. Obviously you can manage it and be like, whoa, like 2 minutes of reading is not cool. Like you guys know you should at least read like a 15-minute book or whatever. But that is what we did. And then after that, then we get started, and, you know, at some point I'm making breakfast, and then we sit down, and then we, you know, go on about our day. And I can tell you that it has been a real game changer for me, and for them. And I felt like I just needed to share that, because I felt like I said at the beginning, if you felt like me and you just felt like everybody's posting about these schedules, and it's just whatever works for you is what you need to do, despite what everybody else is doing. And you don't need to feel bad about it. I don't feel bad about it. I feel great about it, actually. I feel less stressed. I feel less, I don't know, like chained down to this idea of what I'm supposed to do because everybody else is doing it, or because it made me feel like it was the right thing to do. I feel more freedom in it. I feel like they feel more freedom in it. And then we can focus on small things like math or learning in different ways, you know, however you have that. But I felt like if our morning isn't set up for success, then basically the rest of the day falls apart. And what my kids need is nurturing and structure for their day to even start in such a, you know, like a positive way. So I hope that was helpful for you. I just wanted to kind of spill my guts on that and share with you what we're doing. I've shared on my Instagram. It's saved in my highlights, like what charms looks like, what I wrote it down as, in case you need to see it visually. But I just want to remind you that you do not have to do anything that you don't want to do, that you don't feel right is for your family. And then at the end of the day, like, it's your family. You know what's best for your kiddos. You know what helps them to thrive, what helps you to thrive. And you're all stuck at home right now, right? So it has to be all serving. This is just such an odd time that we're in right now. It's like this limbo place of like who's doing what am I responsible for? What do things look like? There's a lot of unknowns, a lot of stress. And so I feel like our biggest job is to not be stressed, because obviously that affects our immune systems, our wellness, our household, like just vibes, everything. It's just, you got to do what's right for you. And I feel like this is the direction that we're going, that is going to best help us. Now, maybe in like a week, I might come back on here and be like, whoa, do not do this, right? Like, do not forget to add this to this morning routine or whatever. But I have a pretty good gut feeling that this is what is right for us right now. And day by day, I feel like it may change slightly. Like, like we're about to go on a walk. Yesterday, I felt like we needed to go on a hike because we just needed to go. Like, we needed to get out. We needed to have some space. But I felt like the best thing we can do right now is to share with each other what we're doing, what is helping, what is not, how we're functioning, how we're surviving, because this is uncharted territory and we're just all trying to survive, right? And be at home together without killing each other. So if you found this encouraging at all, if you found this helpful at all, if you got any kind of nugget from this, some idea that sparked from something that I said, or something that what I said made you think of something else that made you think of something awesome, what have you, I would hope that you would share this with another friend, another mama, and just keep sharing it and spreading it. And hopefully we can help each other out through this process and through this time. And I will catch you next time.